So you walk back down the town, through the town, passing the general store, TJ's, the sheriff's office, all the things that you would see. And at the end of the road is the Ten Pole Creek Bridge. That's the one you cross over. And when you get over it, you almost immediately are walking into the woods area. It's the day, so there's nothing to worry about here. It's a cool day, although not cold. And when you get to the turn to Gazzy's, her road is a dirt road, and there are hoof prints up and down it. She's known for riding her horses around, so they are pretty well known. And you get to the end of the road, and suddenly you are in front of two horses. One looks like a fast horse, another one a draft. And they are huffing and kicking their feet. Hold on. Come on, get over here. And the horses leave, and they're just sort of wandering around the property. They're not stable. They're not tied down or nothing. And you see Gazzy start coming out. What you got there? Looks like you got a girl got sick.
Getting sicker than normal. We could use you to look at her.
Sick enough to throw up frogs.
You might want to grab your symbols.
I don't think I know you. You look like a father of the Catholic Church.
You would be correct.
I am Gazzy Smythe.
You look like a very wise woman who helps very many people in this town.
I help everyone that I can. How is the Lord today?
I'm still in process of trying to figure that one out.
Well, come on in. I hope that nothing in my house offends you or scares you or whatever.
Oh, madam, I promise you there's nothing in your house that can offend or scare me.
Yeah, I heard that before. And she brings you up on the porch, and when she does something along the door line that, like with her hand, that is kind of an unusual thing, and then she kind of grabs the handle to open the door after an odd motion. Come on in. Y'all want lemonade or tea or anything, or do you... Normally, I spike it pretty good. I just don't know if you want it that early in the morning and with the hangovers everyone has. Hair of the dog or just actual tea or sweet tea or lemonade?
Your tea is the most delightful thing ever, so I would just have some sweet tea, please.
Oh, thank you so much.
I would love and cherish a glass of sweet tea, man. That'd be fantastic.
Right. Have I met you, Mr.? I met you the other day, last night, Mr. Hayes. You were the one dancing with you, weren't you?
That's right.
That woman is so happy that someone danced with her and got the thing going, because as old as she is, she used to love dancing. She'd even go into the city to see the ballets and the things like that when she was young enough to do it, you know.
Doc also cut a shine with the teach.
Miss Margaret? Very nice. Oh, that city mystique must be working its magic on the country girls here, huh?
Well, I don't know about that, but...
And she walks you into the kitchen as she's doing it. And as you go in, you pass a room on the right where there is a big round table with a glass ball sitting in the middle that has a little bit of a glow about it. That maybe it's the light coming through the window. That's probably all it is. Come on in, and she starts stirring up the tea, pouring in sugar. And she pours in enough sugar that you're pretty sure your teeth will rot as you drink.
Well, yeah, that's how you make sweet tea. You pour until your sadness goes away, and that's the proper amount of sugar to use in sweet tea.
That's right. And she pours it out.
Until God says stop.
All right, let's get this going. Let me see this girl. Enjoy your sweet tea. Put her on the couch over there, please. And her house is filled with, I'll just call them oddities and little miniature figurines and eggs found on the ground, pine cones, different kinds and different sizes, some of them painted, some of them unpainted. little Father, you would recognize a lot of this as sort of animistic kind of religion stuff. Yeah. Typical for shamans and you don't want to say witches, but country folk.
Hedge magic.
Yeah, hedge magic. You've seen quite a bit of that, but this one is a particularly well stocked house of this stuff. There are even standing around in the kitchen. Both you, and probably all of you, notice there are little carved symbols and different things in the wood and the panels in different places, and some of them are very tiny and just everywhere. These little things. All right,
Erwin will be looking around, actually, probably not even paying attention much to what else is going on, but looking for symbols and looking at various artifacts.
And a couple of them you do recognize as being symbols in your book. Hmm. Well, my diagnosis is she's drunk.
Yeah, that's what we thought as well, but I was confused with the frog thing.
Do you think she ate some frogs?
That's what I was trying. If you swallow a tadpole,
it dies in the acid. It dies in the acid of your stomach.
Frog, and then if you vomit, will that frog then come out of you?
I'm not a doctor. Well, I am a doctor.
You are a doctor, Doc.
It does.
Oh, you're a doctor.
It's plausible, if you ask me.
So what would your diagnosis be? I'm only kidding. I know you're not a medical doctor.
Oh, you're asking me?
I was, but I know you're not a medical doctor.
We had a frog burger. 100%.
That's what it seems like. But there are apparently times in historical context when the release of frogs from the mouth were the end result of poorly done rituals and attempts at magic, and the results of being the victim of certain types of magics, or, as the father could attest, possessions.
Correct. There have been frogs are often the case. I've seen snakes happen once.
Oh, I cannot imagine a snake coming out someone's mouth.
It was about as disturbing as it sounds. Yes. Usually a reptile or an amphibian, most often, or an insect. Roaches are common.
Well, I would honestly prefer an insect to a frog or a snake.
Not when it's 15 or 20 roaches.
Well, Father, this sounds like it is right up your alley then, if you think she is possessed. Do you think she's possessed, by the way?
There's not enough through just the frogs alone to tell whether or not that is the case. She didn't react to oils or essences that I applied to her in a negative manner, which could either mean if she is possessed, it's just a dormant spirit at this point, or she could not be possessed, and it could have been, as you were saying, the after effect of someone either misusing or targeting with some sort of magic that could or could not be done through devilry.
So we only have a victim here, and probably treating the symptoms of the alcohol are probably going to be the only thing we can really accomplish here.
At the moment, yes.
Pagan's going to lean in close to the midwife to where she's hoping like the others can't hear, and she's like, "Do you think it's the green, Grimm?"
It could be the green, or it could be the dark. The amphibians, they are on the line.
While everyone's talking, Erwin's going to try to steal some of the baubles with the runic symbols on them.
Okay.
Dumb boy.
Do you not know?
Dumb boy do dumb thing.
Dumb boy do dumb thing to lady with magic.
Right.
Just small ones, nothing big, but like if there's like a little bauble.
Sure, there's a couple. Perfect size to palm or drop in a pocket here, there, whatever.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
Do you have any particular skill at this?
Yep, I'm trained in anything manual dexterity, sleight of hand, lockpicking, etc.
Oh, very nice. Can you make me a roll?
And I'll put a level of effort into it.
All right, make me a roll for that. Level of effort. Very nice. You need to get...
I got a 12.
It was a level 3. You needed a 10 or above. So you are successful at, with no one catching you, sliding a couple of the vials or bottles into your pockets, and even putting something so they don't clink.
I thought of everything.
You did. All right, well, I can take care. What is this person's name? I do not recognize her.
Her name is Ashley. She's a reporter from New York City.
Could somebody take that gun out and put it on the table? I do not even like handling those things.
I take it and pop the magazine out, put it around another chamber, put it off to the side.
Thank you. So, I can take care of her. Do you all... I mean, Tegan, you kind of look like you are suffering a mighty bit from the drink last night too. What about you, Walt? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I did have I had a few things I want to talk to you about. You mind if we talk in the kitchen for a moment?
Sure. Come on, let's go talk. I'll be right back, Tegan. I got something for you to help take care of that hangover you're not treating.
But she did have a lovely evening, though, from what I hear.
Well, that's good.
Also read again. But let me know, Grant, if I can help fix anything in payment for what you're doing with Miss Ash.
Oh, you left with Jennifer Love, didn't you?
Yeah.
So who'd you have a time with then? Oh, Jennifer Love.
A lovely evening.
Wow. Yeah, of course. That makes sense, actually. For Jennifer. All right, come on, Walt.
As we're walking over to the kitchen, have I noticed anything with the package that Tegan is holding? Did I ever hear a thump thump, or did I feel any thrumming of any wards as I walked through Gazzy's house?
You noticed her, like her hand gestures to open doors and stuff. You could feel the wards as you walked in, but what they do, you're not really sure. You just felt like the place had protections.
Yeah, I guess I'm just more wondering if the yellow heart thing.
The yellow heart has not made any bump bump since it did earlier.
Okay. Now Gazzy was the midwife that birthed our daughter, right?
Yes.
So I trust her pretty deeply. She's been basically our doctor for a long time. She's helped me with my aches and pains and groans and moans. And so first thing I'm going to ask her is, now Gazzy, you were kind of running things last night down at the party down the Hootenanny. Who was it that set up that big bonfire?
The John Barleycorn one?
Yeah, who set that thing up?
Miss Crandall. Her and a couple of people that she works with down at the mill, they helped set it up together. I mean, they run the mill. They handle a lot of wood, so they made sure that they brought wood that would be appropriate to burn well. And it did burn well. Got to admit that.
Well, it certainly did for the most part. Was she acting strange to you at all, Miss Crandall?
I find her a strange person all the time.
Okay, well, that makes two of us. All right. What would you say if I told you that after if you were to find such a horrible fire, violent fire, bright, hot fire.
Yeah, that was a hot fire, and it burned for a couple hours.
What would you do if you found some wood that didn't burn, that was right in the fire?
Well, I think somebody probably put that in after or something, right? I mean, wood burns. Or someone was doing something else.
Listen, so Tegan and I, we took a walk down to the bonfire this morning where we found Miss Swindle, and we found something at the bottom of that burn pile, and it weren't burned, but it was definitely covered up with ash as if it had been there.
So it was in the fire but didn't burn at all. Like no, he had.
It sounds just as strange as you're describing it to me right now. Yeah.
Well, you have my curiosity piqued.
Now, are you familiar with the bleeding tree?
Oh yes, I am familiar with the bleeding tree. I wish that thing weren't here.
I think Miss Crandall's been messing with it. I think she burned some of it in the fire last night.
Well, why do you think that? Nobody takes wood off that tree. Nobody wants to go near it.
That's what Tegan and I found at the bottom of that burn pile. But it wasn't burned. It was like it didn't do nothing to it.
Well, that sounds like some kind of sorcery or something to me.
It don't feel right.
Why
I don't know
would
what to
you
make
put
of it
that?
though.
Why would you? I wonder if that tree has got some kind of magics about it.
My bees won't go anywhere near it. They know better than I do.
Well, you can always trust the instincts of animals. They are way more sensitive to the world around them than us. I would trust your bees over any person wanting to go near that tree. So you found the wood in the fire where the fire was, unmarred by the flame, and you recognized it as cut from the bleeding tree.
I saw I saw Miss Crandall and her men one night out there taking cuttings from it.
Did you ask her about that?
Well, I tried. Even Sauce, she didn't tell me nothing.
But you shouldn't be you don't take cuttings from a tree like that. There is no good coming from that tree.
I don't even like looking at the thing, let alone take a cutting from it.
I mean, it ain't even cut down because everyone's afraid of cutting it.
What's the lumber mill got to do with it then? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't know. I think that I've always thought she was a weird person, a weird woman. Now I'm suspicious that it's worse than just weird.
Listen, Gazzy, there's more, but I don't know what I can tell you about it right now. I don't trust a couple of folk in the other room over there quite yet. Are you going to be around later?
I will be here. I will be in town for a little bit. I'll probably go drag some more of the sickens back or bring some stuff to them so they can heal up a little easier.
All right. Well, tell you what, Tegan and I might come back in a little bit.
All right. My home is always welcome. The horses will not attack you. I'll hear you because they'll let me know you're coming.
Well, you know I always appreciate you, Gazzy.
Wow. I would never have thought of her being like that. All right. You got a good sense of who people are. You know that, right?
Well, I try a little bit. I got a little bit of help. Bees go crawling around my face.
Yeah. I appreciate that so much. You will owe me a little honey, though. If you don't mind.
You know you got some anytime you want any.
Well, let's go take care of that girl. Make sure she is well enough to walk soon. Can't have her staying on my couch the whole time I'm gone. Thank you for letting me know about that. I will start keeping an eye on Ms. Crandall about. You have gotten my suspicions up.
When you hear anything, you let me know.
I will. And she gets up. If you ever need a reading or anything, she points as she's going past to the other room. If you ever need a reading or anything, let me know. We can see if we can find them. Contact them. We have not been able to, so I feel good about that, not bad about that. You know, that means they went where they needed to go if that's what happened. Or they didn't go anywhere if they're still alive. And that's my hope.
I'll give that some thought. Thank you.
Come on, then. Let's go take care of this girl. And I don't think I ever seen Tegan drunk. It's kind of funny, actually. I'm kind of having trouble holding in my snickering. I don't think I'm going to hold it in. The two of them walk in. All right, Tegan, can you go grab that compress? And I need some of the fruits that are up there. And she gives you a list of things. Bring those over. All right. And she turns the girl over. Oh. And wow, she's got a big scar there. And she pulls back her shirt a little bit over her shoulder. And she got a gunshot wound there. It's an old one, but that's a gunshot wound. I can see the in and the out. Unless somebody used a sword. And she laughs at that.
The frogs got in that way.
Maybe. All right, so mix that up, Tegan. Use a mortar and pestle and crush that stuff up. You're going to hate the taste of this, but it will help your hangover get over quicker.
Well, I ain't about to argue with an old aunt. If you're going to show more of the scar, you should probably ask the menfolk to maybe leave. I don't know that Ash would appreciate.
She didn't actually. It just got accidentally exposed when she turned her head to kind of get her ready to drink, and it kind of showed just the top of her shoulder. She didn't expose it on purpose. It was an accidental.
Okay.
And it's not like she exposed anything but just below the collar.
Whenever I've mixed up whatever and she's getting ready to give it to me, I'm gonna whatever she hands back to me, I'm gonna dump it into the rest of my sweet tea and just like throw it back.
That's one way to do it.
Hopefully all of this sugar helps.
Sadly, I think you're ruining your sweet tea, and it is an awful taste. Your sweet tea is definitely ruined, and it's like a choke it down kind of moment. All right, you'll be good to go now.
In the world to fix that.
And it is spicy, hot spicy. All right, come on, girl. Can you sit up? And she kind of, give me the other one. Let's get this one in her too. I got something special for you. You're going to love this. It's going to be better than frogs, that's for sure. I'm not sure of that, actually. And she pours it in her throat. And she leans over. Can somebody get a bucket quick, just in case? There's one right over there in the kitchen.
Grabs the bucket.
And the girl holds it down. All right. You're toughin'. I thought for sure that I'd made a mistake and not had the bucket here first. And the girl's eyes open a little more. Oh, thank you, whatever that was. My stomach feels a little better. Where the hell am I? Well, you're at my house.
Yeah, you're in good hands.
This is, well, how are you doing? Can you explain to me the frogs? The what? The frogs, the ones that you threw up. And she started what? All right, the bucket. And she comes over, and she throws up again. There are no frogs. I had frogs I threw up frogs? That means I ate frogs?
That's what I said.
You didn't eat frogs.
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying you ate frogs. We're just saying that you threw up frogs. Oh my gosh, what is happening to me? I didn't even drink last night, and I feel like I've been drunk all day. You are still drunk. How are you drunk without having drink? You must have drank something and you didn't realize. TJ can make some very sweet drinks that can do quite a bit of damage to your guts. No, you don't understand. I just got in like few hours ago on the train. B&O came in, and I heard about the party, but I wasn't drinking. Well, that's unusual. No hair of the dog, honey. You didn't start drinking this morning? No.
Who have you interacted with since coming to town?
I came out of the hotel and I started asking a few people I found. And she goes through her notes, and there's like two or three other people that she'd met along the way. And they're people that the rest of you know that are just like regular people. And and she flips through the page. Oh, I thought I wrote you down. This person and this person I met. The other two I don't know. I have not asked them. But I'm trying to do a story about small town USA, and can it survive prohibition? Like, it's going to be tough on some people. Oh, it'll be tough. We're going to get by. We're not going to stop drinking, right? The Congress cannot tell us to stop drinking and think we'll just do it because they said it.
Here we go.
I will say she was walking into TJ's before she was walking out in Frogs.
Oh. That is suspicious. You may have been drinking. Maybe. And she starts looking around and seeing all this stuff. Oh, are you like are you a witch or something? A witch. I'm a midwife. There's a big difference. Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
Gazzy here, she birthed my daughter for me.
She's the best dang granny woman around.
Well, that's good to know that I made it to a place that could handle my not drinking.
So, what is the last thing you remember before you got corked, huh?
I was talking to the two of them about my story, and then I don't remember nothing.
Yeah, she asked directions to TJ's, and then she just kind of seemed to go a little glass-eyed.
And she looks at her. Oh, is that what that map is? Those directions? Wow.
I mean, I bet it's close to what amounts to directions out here.
I did my best.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I
for
think
that.
your scale is a little off, actually. If you should move that a little closer to there and move that over.
Yeah, my art of the craft comes in the alcoholic variety.
All right, I'll
When we bumped into them, were they by the center, still in the same spot, or had they
Yeah,
moved?
they were near it. Yeah.
Okay.
And well, I can lend you a couch for a few hours if you need it. I'm going to be heading to town. You can come with me if you want, Miss Swindell. Is right? Yes. All right. Relax. Get better. I'm gonna send the others on, and I'll meet you all in town later if you're around. Good luck with all the stuff you're doing. I hope that well, good luck. Nice to meet you, Father Bartimaeus.
Very close.
Bartimaeus.
There you go.
Sorry,
Correct.
Bartimaeus. It was nice meeting you. I hope that I hope your services aren't needed. Hopefully, we're all
I
good.
never hope they are.
Yeah. And Professor Hayes, I hope to cut a rug with you one day. You seem to be a pretty good dancer.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it. Take care of this one, all right?
All right. And she walks y'all to the door and gets you off on the road. And you get off her property and you come back around, walk along the creek, and you end up, after quite a ways, walking through, you see the big tree that is the symbol marking where the cemetery is. And that tree is a massive old tree. Yeah, go on.
As soon as it's in view, I'm going to be like, and that's where y'all are headed to right there, that big tree right there. Hope you have a great day. Okay. Bye-bye.
As we're approaching, I'll say that something's not adding up here. Like, woman throwing up frogs, and that just doesn't happen. Jokes aside about eating them. I mean, you were joking, right, Tegan?
Ain't that how it works?
That's not how it works.
Haven't y'all
That's
ever
actually-
had frog legs?
Yes, but that's not how that works.
And I think she mentioned. Did she
Talking
mention it
to
was some
several-
kind of ritual when she was on the side, or did she mention that in front of us? I can't remember.
When she was talking to Gwennon.
Okay.
Not us.
Okay. I don't know. I'm a little worried about this one. I don't know.
It doesn't add up right.
It
Did
doesn't
say
add
something
up.
Especially-
about possession.
And y'all
True.
looking at dead people, which I hope stay dead, honestly. No offense to you, Father Bartimaeus.
Close enough.
Just saying, let's be careful, all right?
I'm not prone to being careful. I actually have to go underground today, so.
I thought you had something you're working with Gwennon on today.
A lot
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, we gotta go drop that thing off.
and she just shows her wrist, which is just a long line of like names and things in order she has to fill out.
You mean drop this thing off? And he points to the bag.
Well, I gotta change into something a little bit more for the day.
Right.
That's what we're going with?
And when
Fantastic.
you point out the bag, it goes boom boom, and you see the bag move like it puffs out a little, and you feel it do it, Tegan.
Well, have a good time at the old
And-
cemetery.
Father Bartamia.
You had it right.
Bartimaeus. You suddenly feel a little nauseous.
Tegan? What's in the bag?
Again, towny business. You should probably go look at the old cemetery.
Because whatever it is, just is trying to do something. Can I try to resist whatever it is that's doing this to me?
Yeah. Let me look at your sheet. I don't have.
Oh,
your
I
sheet.
need to send that to you, so give me 1 second.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. And there you go.
All right. Let me see what I'm working with here. Nope.
Nope.
You are just nauseous. And like your stomach is
Is there
churning.
anything giving a visual?
Your stomach is churning. Everyone sees you kind of stop. You stop in your tracks, and suddenly you feel nauseous. And
I swear if a frog comes out of my mouth, I'm taking that bindle from you.
Talking about
Tegan this whole time after pointing out the trees, like slowly Homer Simpsoning out of this social situation.
Tegan, I think he's saying your underpants are cursed.
I mean, quite possibly. I found them on top of the head of a deer on the wall. So
can I get a mic check from you, Father Bartimaeus?
16 on the die.
All right. You do not throw up, but you definitely feel nauseous. As a matter of fact, not only do you feel nauseous, you feel drunk.
I haven't had a drop of alcohol today.
His
starts.
words are slurring a little bit suddenly.
you
So-
made it back out of the situation.
I am going to do something about that real quick. I am going to bewitch Tegan. So long as I talk,
Right.
Tegan can do nothing.
Yeah, you just can't attack her. If you attack,
Yeah. I just can't attack Tegan.
So you're kind of enthralled by the words and the oddity of the father suddenly getting sick, and what he's saying seems kind of interesting. Like, Walter, you kind of feel the eyes of Father on Tegan as they're deep and introspective, and they kind of have Tegan enthralled in this conversation in a way that you have not seen Tegan ever enthralled, because she's shut up.
So I would say that Walter is a similarly large man to Father Bartimaeus, and he kind of gets in the middle of the two. Now, Father, and he kind of pipes up a little bit.
It's a big bolster.
You feeling all right? Kind of distracting.
I'm feeling like someone just put something on me, whether it's intentional or not, and it is my duty as someone from the church who is here to dispel these kinds of things to get to the bottom of what is causing it. So, now then.
He slurred a bunch. He slurred those words out. You kind of understood some of them. Some of them came across like the words you thought they were. Some of them not so much.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea to go.
He's a serious drunk.
It's probably not a good idea to come into town and start accusing my friends of things.
I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but me holding on something you don't fully understand.
Well, why don't we try to understand it then?
I would love to, but I need to see what it is to be able to understand it.
Well, I try to knock on the bag while they're talking. Is it like hard? Is it soft like clothes?
It sounds like glass, like a ding, but it is a little softer than you would have thought. Maybe it's just because there's clothes in there around something.
Tegan, did you steal something?
Of course, that's where you'd go.
Did not steal anything.
Tegan is sort of enthralled still in this conversation.
That's a yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming I couldn't even answer the dog, but my smart ass.
So I think that it might be best for you to show me what you found.
I can't do anything. Your thing says I can't do anything.
Now listen, Father, you're.
Am I wrong?
I really don't like to bring people into things that I don't. Well, I don't really like to talk to people that I don't know too well.
It's understandable.
I'm not one that's easy to trust others.
Also understandable, even in a small community where you're separated from most of the world. Why would you trust outsiders?
But if this is something that's hurting people or influencing people, do you think you can help?
It's what I'm trained for. I was telling the professor over there earlier this morning, I am the Catholic Church's answer to things that go bump in the night.
And he gives a long, long sigh, like deep in thought, really, really, really toiling with the fact that he's about to show somebody, some outsider, something that really ain't right in his own town.
Right.
You trust him, Walter. He's acting like he's one of you.
Yeah, I was like, what is that?
But hell, Professor, at this point you are one. Tegan, I think we should show him.
I can't do anything.
I drop it. I drop it at this point. At this point, I do drop it.
I ain't showing anybody anything when we're still in town. The whole reason we try and get it out of town so we don't do anything.
We're out of town.
We are still near where people live. We need to
No,
go.
we're not.
Yeah,
We're actually
we are.
not.
We actually are.
Scott.
She's right there. They're
Scott.
there.
Across the creek, there's
Wood.
Deep.
People.
yeah.
And-
Across the creek, there's the town over there. You had to walk a way around the town, but they're just across the creek.
She has a point though. If this has some kind of magical,
Now
Then
we
where
were
let's
heading
just
to
we
my
go.
location because it is out of the way, and I have experience dealing with these kinds of things, and I like to deal with them out there away from everybody in case something goes bad. And that's where we were heading. So I would like to continue head there.
Lead on.
You don't need to go look at the weird, creepy thing first.
This is an immediate threat that needs to get taken care of.
have you read
Sounds
the
good.
book Frankenstein? I don't think we want to bring that near the cemetery.
Oh, gee.
The other thing is, if there are things in the cemetery, the worst thing you can do is put things that are active close to each other.
That's why I wasn't following you. Pointed to a tree, saying good day, but let's go. And she's gonna just like rapidly walk in the way she wanted to go in the first place.
I lean against the professor a little bit to stop me from stumbling over.
You're a regular blotto right now,
don't.
Father. Let's get you
And Professor,
Right.
one thing that strikes you is before a few moments ago, he did not have an odor to him, and now he has the odor of liquor.
Did you you didn't sneak anything while we were in that house, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I think there's gonna be some frogs in your future, friend.
There are. I am going to rain hellfire on this godforsaken town.
Fire and brimstone, eh?
It has its place.
So do you lead them to your home?
Yeah, it is very much like a 2-bedroom
Yeah.
cabin in the deep woods kind of.
Yeah, you actually had to cross the railroad track bridge way down to the south, crossed over and found your way over in a really some very deep part of the woods. You know, there is one place though where you realize that actually Father Bartimaeus is the only one that realizes that you were going straight and then suddenly you veered around some area and then continued on. Yes.
I will remind you that I can also see the things.
You're going around the area where the tree lies, the bleeding tree.
Purposely, let's get
Yeah,
real.
you purposely
real life.
take a walk around some area.
Are we avoiding something?
Oh yeah, we'll get into that because that's unfortunately attached to this. Ain't
Something
nobody
else that I
saying
need
go
to worry
there.
About? Usually that's the places I unfortunately have to go usually.
I mean, I will let you know it's been there as long as Guilty Hope probably has been there. So if something calls the revival shenanigans, probably wasn't that. It was probably something else.
You want to describe
thing.
your hut when you arrive?
Yeah, it's like a 2-bedroom, almost kind of like hut cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
You can tell it's been there a very long time, and it's got like patchworks of like places where it's been repaired, and you can tell like carpentry has been replaced and things like that. And there's like almost like an added like lean-to shack on the back, with open-aired sides for some reason, and like shutters to put a lot of like air and circulation in the back. And as Tegan gets to the front door, she pauses, turns back to the group and goes, "It is very important that you do not touch anything in here. About 90% of it has a non-zero chance of exploding." And just opens the door.
Non-zero
inside
chance.
of it
That's an
is-
engineer term.
inside of it is just like if someone took 12 workshops and like crammed all 12 of them in an open concept like space with like a bed shoved in one corner. That's what it is.
Oh, Lord Mary, Mother of God.
And she rushes over to a small table and like swipes everything off of it, and you hear just screeching noises as she drags it to the middle of the room and like puts the pack on it. Okay, so couple rules. Probably don't look directly at it, and she puts down her goggles. And I will do my best to explain it as we go, and just unwraps the thing.
And when she unwraps the knapsack, there's some bits of wood that Professor Hayes, you recognize as the color and style and look of the bleeding tree wood. You know, untouched, unburned or anything, just like small pieces of it. And in the center of that is an amber colored heart shaped thing. Looks like it's made of glass or something, but maybe softer.
I'm assuming that's what's made me drunk.
I have no idea, but I can identify objects. I am skilled in it. So I'm gonna spend some time to identify the object. I also am skilled in understanding and finding and noticing small details.
All right. So as you start examining, it beats. And hold on. Wrong die. Oh, that's the right die. And Walter, you feel nauseous. And when it beats, Professor Hayes, you see symbols appear on the inside of this thing, all of which look like they are symbols that you recognize from a certain book you have. And they're there for a moment, and then they fade away, like they're on the inside, and they rise up with the beat, and then they fade into it looks like it's liquid on the inside.
Almost in a trance, I'll take out the book and start flipping through the pages looking for these symbols. And, you know, he starts whispering kind of to himself almost, just this odd language that you don't understand, trying to repeat it over and over, trying to remind himself where he saw that symbol in the book.
Do you have using magic as an ability?
Yes.
Can you make me a using magic roll?
Sure. I'll put effort into it. Okay, that's an 8.
All right.
With effort in the training.
Yeah, you kind of get it. You're not sure you're pronouncing things right, but you know, it's interesting that it's an unusual combination of characters or symbols in an order you've never seen before. As a matter of fact, the color it kind of reminds you of like beer or mead or ale or something like that. It's like that it's kind of a pretty yellow orange.
Beautiful. He says out loud even to himself.
Hagen is probably like only 3 inches from the thing and like examining it and like writing in like a small notebook they found from somewhere all of their observations.
Can you give me an understanding magic roll, please?
That is a 17.
All right. You don't get the full picture, but you do understand that this is somehow related to like liquor, obviously. Like maybe it's a decanter, maybe, who knows, that you don't understand, but it starts to dawn on you that maybe this weren't there when it burned. Maybe it appeared after.
Right. So, first, like, immediately spins 180 to look at the group and is like, first, we're pretty sure the mill lady is the one responsible for this because, followed by evidence, um, we know she took cuttings from the bleeding tree, which is a whole thing we'll get into here in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately, like we'll get there in a second because she knows.
Sidebar that for a moment.
Taking notes.
She was in charge of setting the bonfire with the like effigy that got burned last night. And what we found was everything was burned, but the 2 pieces of the bleeding tree we found, and this thing on top of it. And for my examinations, it's probably some sort of alcohol inside of it, and we're pretty sure it appeared after the fire, but on top of the bleeding tree wood, which was also not burnt, and this thing was also not burnt. So
that makes sense.
Can I get a religion check from you, Father?
Of course you can. 17.
You think that was you think that was maybe a summoning?
Yeah.
After getting enough details from Tegan, it kind of suggests to you that this may have been summoned.
There's this effect that can happen when
he slurs out a bunch of words.
Right. When you're using the right materials, and there's a lot of similar intent that's focused towards one thing for one purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You can call forth things of power that should not be here. So, for example, if you were to burn it while everyone was reveling in alcohol, and you had the right materials as part of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Some witch was trying to liven up the party.
Careful with that word right here. The green is the whole thing. It's probably
witches are a very specific thing. For example, the granny doing the healing, I would not classify her as a witch.
I'd also be real careful about calling her because you.
I would not be so dumb as to do so. There are things that heal in this world and things that hurt.
Yeah. Oh, and one moment, and she goes to the side of the room where a bunch of things are piled, and you hear like things falling at her. She pulls out like a board. Yeah. She pulls out a chalkboard and comes back and puts it down. And like,
I'd be sober for this conversation.
Probably, but we don't have time for that.
Does anyone? Okay. Thankfully, I'm from St. Louis. We know how to deal with this. Okay, does anyone have a bottle? Do you have any bottles of clear spirits?
One moment, and she like goes in, and she brings this like big thermos, and she's like, "Drink this, but a little bit. It's like a little bit like tar, a little bit like car oil."
My uncle's from the Ozarks. It can't be worse than Ozark moonshine. Pops the top, and just does a shot of it.
It's the most sludgy like coffee thing you've ever drank.
Meanwhile,
I tried to warn you.
Why don't we get this hard thing out of here? We can leave it outside in case it's.
I do not feel comfortable.
May I try something that might take us less time first?
Sure.
Can I use the items within my exorcism kit and am I using magic ability to contain this thing so it stops affecting us, at least in this room temporarily?
I'll give you a use. Do you use magic? I'll give you a use magic roll, and with your kit, I'll give you an ease of 1.
Perfect. 15.
So, you feel like there are ways that you could at least temporarily maintain, I wouldn't say control, just reduce its efficacy with some of the things you have that could at least temporarily hold it up or back it off?
Let's go for the back it off for a little bit.
I can also assist later when we have a little more time because I can craft something to dampen it, hide it, put it away.
Which in the future would be the correct way of doing it.
So bleeding tree.
Before real quick, I can tell you right now that I am in the position to offer you a large sum of money.
It also, if you need things that there are a lot of things in these woods that can't really be explained that I probably have bits and bobs of. That's why I'm good at what I do. But anyways, the bleeding tree.
The bleeding tree, yes. Now that I'm more sober, bleeding tree.
It's been here as long as it grows around it. No one goes around it, not even creatures. Nothing lives near it. It gives you the big heebie-jeebies. It literally looks like it is bleeding, which is why it's called the bleeding tree. No, we're not creative, but we are. And we saw the mill woman taking a cutting of the tree, and ain't nobody in there right anywhere near that tree. I mean, you saw I could have shaved about 45 minutes off our walk if we had gone past it. I ain't going near that thing. I don't care if it takes 45 more minutes. She took a cutting of it, and she points at the 2 pieces of wood that are under the heart thing, is the cutting from it.
Not far from here.
I have a high suspicion I shouldn't be telling you. And she points specifically at the doctor.
Yeah, Professor, I'd highly advise that you don't let your curiosities get to you here.
Unfortunately, those curiosities are for me why I am here, so I at the very least will have to. But I do agree with both these two with no other people's probably should be going near the thing. I don't particularly want to go near this thing, which is saying something, but I have an obligation to at least make sure it's not connected to what happened previously.
I don't think it is, because like I said, it's been here a real long time, and this is the first time we've ever heard of anyone taking anything off it, because you will see when we take you there and show you, do not want to get within a hollering distance of this tree. You start feeling like the heebie-jeebies and stuff's crawling on your skin, and you want to take a hike as quick as can from this tree.
Sounds incredible.
Is there a chance that this heart has something to do with that tree?
I'm concerned that the tree can be used as a component to create things like the heart currently. And I fear that this barleycorn incident could have just been an easy test run to see if it was possible.
I'm going to be honest, a lot of things in this hollow in the woods can probably be used. If any of the stuff I found, a lot of things in these woods can be used for that. But definitely the bleeding tree.
Taking that heart, when you were looking it over, did it feel bad? Or did it just feel like it was going to get you drunk?
I mean, okay, so bad is a relative term.
Evil.
Did I
Evil
feel like
is also a relative term.
Yeah, I was like, it's also relative. It did what it was intended to do, but I don't know that the person who brought it intended it to do it. If that makes sense. So,
do you think the intent was just to get somebody drunk?
I think the intent was to, like the good father here said, to test with the wood. I don't know that they had necessarily intended it to be a heart of alcohol that got people drunk, but I think their intent was to test that they could bring something about with it.
An easy way would be to, for example, if you have a bunch of drunks, a round of burn an effigy to alcohol right before Prohibition ends, and everyone wants the alcohol to continue and not stop, what do you think that would call forward?
A lot of focused energy and intent.
Whereas if you were to take the same thing and then, let's say, cause an issue at a mine, a bunch of people trapped in the darkness, all that fear, all that anger, all that aggression, what could you summon forth with then?
I'd rather not dwell on that.
It's agreed. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where those are the things that I have to keep an eye out for, which is why if this tree is this kind of item, I might have to call in some other individuals from a specific branch of my church to further assist with containing the tree.
I'm sure it's fine. It's just a tree, you guys.
I think we all just do the slow turn.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to highly argue with you, and also now I'm questioning how much of this you should know.
I don't entirely believe that I'm quite as a. You were a pertinent member of the conversations leading up to this, Professor. I do hope that you are speaking in jest.
Look, I mean, something strange is going on here, but the tree's way out here, supposedly, so the town's way over there. 2 little pieces of it did all this? I don't know.
I've seen weirder.
I've also seen weirder.
I'll believe it when I see it. When I see the tree. As soon as possible.
So what do we do from here then?
Well, we contain this. Points back at the heart.
First things first, yes, we contain the heart.
And then we probably should show you the tree. I'm gonna be real honest, is gonna be bad, so maybe you should finish sobering up before we take you there.
I don't disagree with that statement.
Okay. And Tegan's gonna you go to large piles of things and you hear crashing and moving things around and gathering materials and comes back to the table and just starts filling with things to put something together to hold the heart.
And between the three of you, you can kind of Father, you kind of understood what needed to be done. And you knew with some of your stuff that you'd be able to limit it some. Yeah. But between you and Tegan, you can probably actually dampen it pretty hard, more so than just you. But you'd have to work together to do something to make that
Let's
happen.
do that.
And I do have both the ability, the skill to craft ciphers and artifacts, and as part of my starting equipment, I have at least the materials sufficient to craft at least one cipher.
All right.
So I'm just going to craft something around the heart.
So this would take that. Can I get your craft and roll, and you are eased by 1 with the help of the Father?
That's going to be a 19.
Hey,
all right. So you end up making a box that's lined with some kind of material that you don't use very often, something odd, unusual, and unnatural as opposed to natural. And you end up making this box and putting some writing on it, probably Latin or something that the Father knows to help contain what it thinks it is. And once you put it in there and you close that little box, both Walter and Bartimaeus immediately lose the nausea.
Oh, that's better.
And I'm gonna also say probably don't mess with the things this box is made of, and maybe don't ask questions.
It's some material you got out of the mines, and nobody's been able to identify quite what it is yet.
I have yeah. I will for the moment agree with you on that, though I will again pay well the church will pay heftily for this item. So
And that makes sense. Imagine if TJ had that. He can get people drunk forever.
I mean, it is a handy way to get around prohibition, not having to sell alcohol, but everybody get drunk anyway.
Loophole.
While they were off crafting, Walt was kind of back a few steps, like very, very, very deep in thought, as the words that Father Bartimaeus kind of resonated with him. The whole that the tree could be used as just a material for such summoning practices or for other nefarious purposes. And he's thinking back about his wife and his daughter and how they just disappeared without a trace, and thinking how could such a thing be connected? Could something like that have been used to trigger something or use some kind of something that could have made them disappear? And if so, why? But he's just very, very, very deep and very brooding.
And after a while, they seem to have hit their eureka moment, and suddenly your nausea disappeared as they dropped the lid on that box, and it was immediate. It was not like it faded away. It was just suddenly gone, and that's when you knew it was done.
so much better.
Yep. And I'm just gonna put melt some candle wax and put it around whatever the lip of it is. Be like, okay, this really is sealed in the house. So
Yeah, it is sealed.
right. Okay.
Where there's still just a little bit of the hot wax, I'm going to take my exorcist signet ring and just press it right in the side. Just real quick.
Okay.
Pick it up, and I'm gonna hide it in the piles of things so it's harder for people to find. And then be like, okay, bleeding tree, let's get this over with, because I want to spend as little time around it as humanly possible. Because I would rather be with a broke back in hell than stay anywhere near that any longer than I got to.
So you take the walk. Luckily, it's middle of the day, maybe a little bit later than that, but you can get there. You'll be there and back before dark, no problem. Thank goodness.
I did grab, because I do have it, I will grab my flashlight, because it comes in my travel pack.
Okay.
In case we stay a little too long for Tegan's liking and it starts getting a little dark.
And make sure you bring the sticks, the wood that you found.
I'm gonna keep the parts of the bleeding tree away from the bleeding tree.
That is the correct option. Yes. Do that. I think there's a new rule. We don't listen to the professor when it comes to how to do
Anything the professor says to do the opposite.
No, don't do that, because he'll start telling you to do things opposite because
He's got a doctorate.
right. I believe the doctor believes he's actually clever, unfortunately for the rest of us.
Doc, I'm gonna say there are things in these woods that I don't think you'll ever learn to understand without living with them.
No.
So as you walk and you get near to I don't want to call it a clearing, but the branches of the trees that do exist near the tree, all the branches on those trees reach for the sun away from the bleeding tree. There are no branches that reach toward or over.
You don't see trees bend backwards like that often.
You do with the bleeding. I told you nothing wants to get near this thing, and ain't nothing.
And even from a distance, you can see that the tree is almost like a coal black, like the coal smoke from the mines just coated the tree in it. There are not many leaves at the moment. The ground, there is actually a tap in the tree itself, like what somebody would use to collect syrup from a certain from a maple tree or something. And it is slowly dripping this black syrupy goo onto the ground. And it has made a pool of black oily like substance around over some of the roots that grow all around this tree. This tree has roots that are so big, the roots look like they lift the tree out of the ground even. There's so much. There are fireflies here, which Walter knows that there have always been fireflies here. One of the few places, even in winter, and it is the only place where they glow red instead of yellow. They're like red lightning bugs instead of regular lightning bugs. And this is the first time any of you have ever seen this tree has flowers. They are gray-black with blue stripes along the edges. And buzzing around them, they look, from a distance, they look like bees. You'll have to get closer to know the difference. But the knots of the tree are really, they protrude hard and heavy all over the place. And the closer you get, the harder it is to comfortably walk, because it's just the roots make it lumpy and bumpy and reach around and all that. And you see one whole branch has been cut away and is gone. And you have never seen that before.
Would that be the trimming you were talking about, the cuttings that...
No, she did not.
Away.
She took,
no?
When she did it, she cut like a few little stems. This is a whole branch coming from near the center of the tree all the way out.
That's a hell of a lot more wood than she took.
What in the hell is that doing?
Has this tree always been tapped?
Has this tree always been tapped?
It's not been tapped for very long, actually. Maybe a few months. But I don't remember. One of you had it in your backstory that you tapped. I think Tegan tapped it.
Yeah, I was like, if we're talking about that kind of tapping, then it's me that did that.
Yeah, you had tapped. That's when you realize, oh, I don't like this tree. After you tap, you're like, oh my God, there's something wrong here. I don't like this. But you couldn't pull the tap out.
Yeah, it's been like that for a few months. It won't turn off no matter what anyone does, and it won't come out. It just keeps doing this, and she gestures vaguely at all the
growing.
black.
I'm assuming the growing puddle of black sap that is.
Yeah, but
and also those are new, and she uses her flashlight to point at the flower.
Did anything happen when you touched it?
Are you getting that close?
Well, I'm asking Tegan, when you tapped it, did anything happen?
Yes, the tree shuddered.
I don't know that I admitted to tapping the tree.
Okay.
Right.
Just
sorry.
admitted to trying to close the tap on the tree.
Okay.
As Tegan flashlights the flowers, I make special notice of the
light. You immediately recognize those are all robber flies.
And I kind of nudged Tegan. I found one of them on my property near my hive.
Not liking the situation. Because I'm gonna lay this out for you, Father, because we are showing you a bunch of weird shit, so I'm gonna tell you some more weird shit. So there are people in town that are following these two. There's a mill lady that's taking cuts and then someone else came out here and take more cuts. These strangers talking about, we found him. I don't like all of that together, especially with the like effigy burning, summoning thing. I'm not a big fan of what I'm seeing, the picture I am seeing be made in front of me. I am a crafter, and this craft looks a little wonky, a little side-goggling. It's not good for us. Ain't good for the town.
Side-goggling. The way you people use words is fascinating.
As you're all talking, you'll hear the professor start to mutter to himself again in this strange tongue, and then just barely you hear him say, I finally found you, and he puts his hand on the tree.
Oh gosh.
And closes his eyes.
So when you touch the tree, you all feel a wind roll under the tree, and the tree itself, the limbs kind of shudder a little bit, and a few leaves drop down. And Professor, you notice something on the ground, not on the ground, stuck between some roots, like a shoe or something is stuck in there.
I'll inspect it, try to grab it, pick it up.
When you pick it up, it smells so bad there are flies all over, because there is actually a foot in the shoe.
Ooh.
And part of the shoe is stuck between roots. Like, you would think that they got stuck, but it's upside down.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that could happen is if the roots grew over it.
Is that a bleeding tree? It bleeds people?
It's a mosquito tree.
I'll continue to inspect the tree. I ignore the foot and just look for something, anything.
Do we see him pull a foot out and then just
You see him lift a shoe and then put the shoe down.
He just kind of like drops it, and he's almost like in a trance, like he's staring wide-eyed at this tree, barely looking at the shoe. It's not what he's looking for, so it's almost like not there to him.
Doc, you should probably get away from there. Doc.
And he walks to the other side of the tree from where you guys are.
Doc, that's probably not someplace you will go.
Professor Hayes, one thing that strikes you when you're walking is the roots curl around in shapes that look vaguely like symbols that you recognize. And one knot on the tree, as you walk on that side, it moves and it opens, and you see an eyeball staring out at you just for a moment, and then the knot closes, and I think this is where we'll break.
I hate it.
What the hell?
It ain't a bleeding tree, it bleeds you.
It's just a tree, just like nobody likes it.
It
I was
ain't.
thinking 50% chance I got eaten by a tree.
There's closer to 100% chance you're about to get eaten by a tree.
Nom 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 nom.
All right, we will not be here. Oh, we will be here next week. It's the other group that won't be here next week. So we will see you next week. Have a good Valentine's Day. Hope you spend some time with loved ones, whoever that is, and we will see you in a week. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Burning rock, crackle smoke out of the mountain's mouth, hollowed by a cut, by a slash, by a fiery blow. Running through the valley like it's running through my veins, while red-eyed crows keep watch underneath the blood-red moon. My slunch-wide soul cries out to rise up against the tide of dusty songs cut hard from the dark mountain stone. Cut hard from the dark mountain stone. Cut hard from the dark mountain.